today's video, I just want to give you a very quick heads up. The audio in today's video is sometimes a little bit scratchy. I guess when I was recording it, my microphone wasn't put on correctly, and so I did my best to edit it out and to edit it cleanly, but there's still some moments where the audio might get a little bit weird, so I added subtitles to this video. Normally I would re-record it in a situation like this, but I'm currently traveling, so I wasn't able to re-record it, but the reading is still really, really amazing. I absolutely loved this reading, so I cannot wait to dive into it with you. And thank you guys so much for still joining me here for today's video, and without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in.
Hello my loves, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video we have your March 2026 month ahead prediction. I am so excited to dive into this video for you. If you are new here, welcome. We use the tarot cards and the oracle cards to bring you information for your highest good, and today we're going to be looking into what you can expect through your month of March. So the way that this video works is I have 4 different groups in front of me, and you're going to use your intuition to choose one, or sometimes your intuition might call you towards more, and that's okay. That just means that there's multiple messages for you in today's video, but you're going to use your intuition to choose one of these 4 different groups, whichever one your intuition calls you towards. If you're new to using your intuition, and maybe you didn't even realize you had intuition, which, my love, everyone has intuition. It is known as your 6th sense, and it's your ability to read energy. And of course, there's different energies and themes within each of these groups, and whichever one stands out to you the most, that is the one that is meant for you, because that means that your energy is resonating with that particular pile, which is why it's going to have all the accurate information in there for you. And that is why it's going to resonate so deeply, because your intuition can feel which one is an energetic match to you in the present moment. And the reason why I love tarot and oracle so much is because it helps us see the current trajectory that we're on. But of course, you have free will, my love. So tarot is a beautiful tool to get the insight that you need to see what current trajectory you're on, so that you can make any shifts or changes or gain some awareness and all these beautiful things. So with that being said, that is how this video works. The way that you tap into your intuition, by the way, is either by visually looking at these groups. Perhaps there's one of them that just stands out amongst the rest, not because it's necessarily the most beautiful, but because there's some unexplainable reason that it's just like standing out to you. You feel magnetically drawn towards it. Your eyes just dart to it whenever you looked at the video. That is your intuition speaking to you. If for whatever reason your eyes are not quite giving you the right answers, maybe you're distracted by the one that's like the most beautiful or something or whatever, another method of tapping into your intuition is by holding your hand and just gently gliding it over each of the piles, just sensing what you feel in that pile. And perhaps again, there's going to be one of them that just stands out, one of them that you get this magnetic pull towards, one of them that just has an unexplainable feeling where you're like, that one is just standing out. That is your intuition. And then there's timestamps linked down below in the comment box as well as the description box, so that you can easily navigate through this video and skip right ahead to your personal reading. So that is all about how this video works. That is how you choose a group. I know some of you also like to get a close-up of the crystals. So if that is you, then let's go ahead and do a close-up of each of them. So on group number 1, we have this beautiful piece of amethyst. So if you're drawn to group 1 or to this amethyst piece, then that is going to be your pile all about your month of March. Group number 2, we have this really beautiful piece of green fluorite. So if you find yourself drawn to the green fluorite or to group 2, then group 2 is going to be your pile. Group number 3, we have this really pretty piece of carnelian. So if you are drawn to the carnelian piece or to group 3, then that is going to be your pile. Group number 4, we have this really pretty piece of copper. So if you find yourself drawn to the copper crystal or to group 4, then that is going to be your pile. So those are the different group options for today's video. Timestamps are down below. You can pause the video to take as much time as you need to find out which pile you are the most intuitively drawn towards. Although I will say your intuition usually speaks to you very, very quickly and very fast. So your first instinct, that is your intuition. Timestamps are linked down below. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into today's video. All right, my beautiful group number 1s, if you chose this pile, this is going to be your reading. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, my group 1s, beginning with your Astro Days, let's see your month. So we have Mars in Aquarius in the 12th house. This is going to be a breakthrough month for you. The 12th house usually alludes to things that are going on in your mind. So it could be like certain problems you're facing, fears that you're overcoming, beliefs that are holding you back, or just not being able to, for some reason, see the solution that you need. And Mars helps us have these breakthroughs. So there's going to be a mental breakthrough, or at least like a solution finding type of breakthrough that you're going to have in the month of March. And that's going to be one of your major themes this month. I also feel like it's generally going to be a month that pushes you to take action, especially like mentally overcoming old blocks, mentally going through like a growth process, and perhaps even just like awakening more of your inner warrior. The Aquarius energy is all about kind of like innovation and having a higher purpose, something that helps you feel like you have a footprint that you're leaving on the planet. And Aquarius is also like accepting your unique qualities and more of like who you truly are, more like on the internal level. So all of like your unique traits and all of those things, that's going to be something that you're embracing a lot more this month, and then having some form of like mental breakthrough or like ideas that have been even ruminating in your mind. This is going to be a month where you're going to be taking action on that. If there's anything that you've been holding in, because the 12th house can also talk about secrets that you have, or like, things that maybe you've just been keeping internally. With Mars being in Aquarius, it's kind of like you're able to get certain things off your chest. You're able to like open up. You're able to kind of have this, again, breakthrough. Any walls that were sort of standing in your way, things that you've been keeping inside that have been wanting to break free and come out and come to the surface, this is going to be a month where all of that is happening. You may also be getting like unexpected news as well, because occasionally the 12th house can point to things externally, such as somebody dealing with something more privately and then coming to you about it and talking about it. So it can also talk about those things. We also have the scales, which is the card of balance. I'm also going to brighten up my camera here because it got a little bit dark. So this is also a month too where anything that has been out of balance, it's going to be highlighted in order for you to rebalance it. So this could be talking about things such as your time management. If anything's been imbalanced where we're not like, taking care of ourselves or anything like that, or like working too much, whatever types of things like that. It can also talk about finances. So if finances have been imbalanced in any way, or we feel like, oh no, like I'm not saving as much as I used to, or, whatever kind of imbalance there might be there. This can also talk about balancing those things. It can also talk about balancing in relationships as well. So are both people doing their fair share of work? Is that happening? So balance is going to be a major theme this month for you. Also, in terms of Mars, this would be like really taking action towards creating balance. And it can also talk about sometimes like even frustrations coming up. So if you've been noticing frustrations around your time management or your finances or equal share in a relationship, this is also going to be a month where that really bubbles to the surface, because Mars is like, we got to take action on it. So Mars can sometimes bring about those frictions and those frustrations, but the reason why it does is so that we actually take action on it rather than kind of just sweeping it under the rug. So sometimes things bubble up in that way. So this also might be a month where you notice a couple of different things like that. And if so, your main thing that Spirit wants you to know is simply take action. Don't just sweep it under the rug. Don't just hope that it disappears one day. Mars is really pushing you to take action in order to create that balance rather than just hoping like it's going to balance out one day. So that is one of the main themes coming up there. We also have the full moon showing up. So the full moon in March is obviously going to be significant since we have this card showing up. So this could actually be talking about pay attention to when the full moon is, which I haven't looked at the charts yet, so I'm not sure what day that is. But the full moon I feel like is going to be very significant. I almost wonder if it's around the beginning of the month, or maybe that's when the new moon is. But either way, the full moons talk about something reaching its peak. And what I'm feeling is that this is talking about that internal feeling that you've had. It's going to reach a peak point and it's going to dissipate after that. So whatever it is that you've been facing, whatever that wall has been, it is going to reach a peak point in the month of March. But after that, it is going to dissipate and it is going to wane and it is going to heal and it's going to release. So that peak point is coming for a release to actually happen and occur. Let's go ahead and see what else we get here for you with your tarot cards for the month of March. The full moon can also talk about something coming to full fruition. So if you've been working on anything, any projects, or something that you've been waiting to hear about, this would talk about that coming to its full fruition and its full completion. So completing projects, if you're waiting to hear back about something, this would be getting the final message, the final news about it. It can also talk about the finishing of a chapter. So if there's something that you are on the brink of completing, the month of March is going to bring that to its full closure. We also have the Seven of Swords showing up. This card can talk about having imposter syndrome. It can also talk about self-sabotage. It can also talk about feeling like you need to tiptoe around certain things because you're trying really hard not to upset anything. So it can talk about the fear of confrontation and all those things. So if you have been tiptoeing around anything or trying to avoid something because you don't want to deal with any upset, or again, you're just kind of hoping it solves itself, this is also going to be a month that is going to highlight that, and it is going to push you to face things, okay? If there's been any imposter syndrome, this is also pushing you to overcome self-sabotage, such as, let's say that you need to take action on something, but you keep sweeping it under the rug because you're like, no, it's like making me nervous, or all these things. The Seven of Swords is also going to highlight those tendencies, because this month is really asking you to face them. So the full moon is when the moon is fully highlighted, right? So I'm almost seeing this, for some reason, Spirit showing me like your face being like the moon and the universe fully illuminating you and putting you out there and being like, you know what? It's time to be authentic. It's time to be real. It's time to be seen. It's time to allow yourself to be seen. So the full moon is also talking about that full illumination. And this is a month that's pushing you to have your full illumination. Okay, we also have Knight of Pentacles being reversed. This one talks about your material world. When it's reversed, it particularly points out tendencies of perfectionism. So getting way too detail-oriented to where we stall, right? The Knight of Pentacles, he likes to move forward. He's on a quest, right? When he gets stuck in perfectionism, though, he completely stalls out and nothing gets done. He feels stuck, right? So that's one aspect of this card. So that's going to be something that's highlighted, and maybe that's why we have this Mars energy of all of this breakthrough type of stuff. But the Knight of Pentacles being reversed can also talk about, self-doubt, and it can also talk about areas of your material world, such as your career or your finances. And when it's reversed, there can be some avoidance tendencies around those areas. So maybe you know that there's something within your career or in your finances that you need to face. When he's reversed, we're kind of retreating, right? We're avoiding it, especially with the Seven of Swords popping up like, there's something there that you are avoiding or trying to tiptoe around, and you're kind of hoping that it's going to get better. Again, with what we had with our Astro Dice coming through, Spirit is really saying that this is the month that's really pushing you to have a breakthrough. If you do choose to stall it more, okay, Spirit wants to talk about this. If you choose to stay in the Seven of Swords energy and the Knight of Pentacles being reversed energy, and you choose not to face it, it is going to continue to bubble up underneath the surface. And it continues to get a little bit harder and harder to face down the line, right? So for example, let's use a really easy example. So let's say that this is about finances, right? And let's say you keep avoiding looking at them because you're just like, oh, it gives me anxiety to like look at my bank or like to look at this. And so I don't want to face it. And I know that my money is imbalanced and it's not really going in the right direction, but it gives me anxiety to face it. So you keep putting it off and you keep putting it off. But then it continues to do the same trend, right? And let's look at this kind of imbalance here where it's going downwards. Maybe it's doing a downwards trend. And then like 6 months later, you're like, oh my God, I'm in a position where now I have to look at it because like I'm on the brink of like nothing. And then, it just accumulates to getting worse. So Spirit is really saying that whatever this thing is, whether it's something you need to talk about, whether it's your career, whether it's something you need to face with your boss or whatever it might be, the faster you face it, the faster you bring it to its full culmination, the better it's going to be. So Spirit is really saying to focus on this. And I really feel like since we have the Pentacle card coming out here and also the Swords, this is something where mentally, Spirit is saying you just mentally have to get over it. You just mentally have to, you know, face it, right? And then your material world is going to thank you. So in terms of your career, in terms of your finances, in terms of your material projects that you're working on, in terms of your physical relationships that you have, it's going to thank you to be able to face this and heal it. So the month of March is really calling you to those places of facing and healing, confronting all of that. Since we have the Seven of Swords coming out, as well as the 12th house, this can also talk about secrets, by the way. So any secrets that you've been keeping or holding back on, this really is urging you to kind of bring them to the surface. The Five of Wands talks about perhaps a fear of confrontation, a fear of disagreement, a fear of conflict, a fear of opposing opinions or rejection or judgment or things like this. So Five of Wands can talk about those different things that might be holding you back. But the Five of Wands comes with a beautiful reminder, especially since it's upright. It comes with such a beautiful reminder that oftentimes friction and facing opposition, facing frictionous moments sparks new insight. It is oftentimes when you face opposition, hear the opinions of others, face criticism, judgments, whatever it might be. That's where you spark new insight. That's where solutions are found. That's where new perspectives are had. That's where we gain understanding of others, which allows us to actually move forward and, again, find those solutions. Because otherwise we're kind of just in the dark, just hoping that one day it's going to sort itself out. So Spirit is really saying, this is the month. This is the month. Let's do it. And Spirit just said the 17th. The 17th of March, or around that time, is going to have some form of significance. So let's go ahead and see what else we get here for you, my beautiful group number ones, for your month of March. We also have shadow. Coming out of the shadows, look at illuminating yourself, being seen, putting yourself out there, writing that email, writing that text message, making that phone call, having that conversation, doing that paperwork, finishing that project, all of those different things. The shadow is you taking action, coming to light, being seen, allowing your voice to be heard, putting yourself out there. The full moon is that full illumination. And this can also be you choosing to confront somebody else and illuminating them, right? So if this has to deal with somebody else, this can also talk about you being that spotlight and choosing to actually illuminate them and say, I really want to understand you. Let's sit down and have a conversation. This could also be you choosing to step into the light and being illuminated, because otherwise we're just kind of staying in the dark. And look at the Seven of Swords. Does it look fun to stay in the dark over there? Does it look fun to hold on to all these mental thoughts and all these mental ideas that are kind of conflicting and kind of awkward to carry around? No, we do not want to do that, right? So we also have higher perspective. So through this enlightenment, through this culmination, you're going to gain a higher perspective of a lot of different things. And it's going to allow you to kind of move through life in a new way, with new choices, with new understanding, with new wisdom, which is going to lead to so much more harmony. And for some reason, the symbol of Aquarius is really sticking out to me, because if you look at these parallel lines, they're not quite parallel because they're jagged, right? But they match up with each other. And so Spirit is showing me that this is correlated to this balance card right now. And it's also correlated to this. Look at the parallel lines that we have. So what this is going to do for you is it is going to create harmony between your reality and your inner world to where you feel in alignment. And then you feel like the different twists and turns actually had a purpose and that they were leading you somewhere bigger. And yeah, there's going to be a whole lot more understanding. So there's going to be a brand new higher perspective that kind of births through this. We also have the moon symbol right here behind this tree. The moon's very connected to your intuition. So I feel like you're going to have this deeper understanding about yourself, your life, your purpose, this deeper wisdom that kind of puts you in a better place in your life. So let's go ahead and see what else we get here. my group ones. Also, sorry, it's getting so dark. Today is a very foggy, cloudy, sort of rainy-ish day here. So this video is gonna be a vibe where it's like, you know, a little bit cozy fireplace type of energy, even though it's like 9 a.m. But that's the vibes it's given anyway. So we also have faith showing up, hope, anticipate, aspire, and foresee. I actually feel like when you face whatever this is, you're gonna kind of birth this newfound faith in life. If you have been feeling unsure, or it's almost like you've lost faith in your direction, your path, literally just facing all of this, getting it off your chest, facing whatever that fear is literally going to rebirth a sense of faith in you and your direction and your purpose and what you desire in your dreams. I feel like you're gonna have so much more foresight, and it's gonna kind of like rebirth, again, this new inner knowing and inner faith. Luminary, so bringing light, stepping into the spotlight a little bit more. The sword represents truth, so speaking your truth, vocalizing, expressing yourself. The sword can also represent cutting away things that no longer serve you, so cutting away old habits, old patterns, cutting out of illusions, getting to the point of something. Swords can also really represent contracts and things like that as well. So if any of you are dealing with anything contractually, the luminary can be where we gain insight around more about that contract or more about paperwork. Like it could talk about paperwork and contracts and stuff. The Seven of Swords coming up too is like anything that's sort of, you know, unknown right now or that we're navigating. I really feel like it's coming to light in March. We also have the card of the medium. I feel like you are going to reconnect to your intuition, and I feel like one thing, okay, so I feel like you're a very intuitive person naturally. I'm getting this message from Spirit though, that perhaps you felt disconnected from your intuition lately, where it's like, maybe with all that's going on and the emotions that it's rising in you, perhaps your intuition's been unclear, which has been distorting a little bit of your hope and your faith, because you're like, you know, I don't quite see how this is going to turn out. I don't see the purpose in this right now. Maybe you're not seeing a couple things that are being left confusing, and maybe it feels like you're trying to get an intuitive nudge, but maybe it's not coming through very clearly. Spirit is also saying, as you face this and kind of clear it off of your chest, it's going to allow your intuition to kind of come back in a very, very clear way, because oftentimes, you know, your intuition speaks. One of the most main ways that it speaks to you is through your emotions. However, your emotions are not your intuition like 99% of the time. Your emotions are separate from your intuition, but your intuition also speaks to you through emotions, which can make it very confusing, right? It's like, well, then how do I know what's my intuition? Your intuition speaks to you as a subtle inner knowing. It never speaks to you through fear. It never speaks to you through heightened emotion. Never, 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 never. It always speaks to you through this subtle inner knowing. Anytime that you've had an intuitive hit, I promise you, it's probably always come to you as this sense of just like, oh, I just know that that person's going to call me right now. Or oh, I know that that person's lying. Nor did it come as a fear, nor did it come as some crazy heightened emotion. It always came as just like, I just know. I just know, and I don't know why I know, but I just know, right? That's your intuition. Your intuition never speaks to you out of this like, what if the worst thing happens? That's not your intuition, that's your emotions, which is stemming from your ego, which is stemming from your human self, right? So anyway, those are the two different differences. With the medium card coming up though, I really feel like you're reconnecting back to your intuition, especially as you sort out more of those human emotions that you've been feeling. And as you kind of clear that out of the way, your intuition is going to come back in a very strong, powerful way. We also have Artist showing up. If any of you are artsy, imaginative, creative, but maybe it's been blocked in some kind of way, or maybe you've even had self-criticism lately and been dealing with that and this perfectionism, imposter syndrome, it is going to come back to you in its fullest way. The 17th of March just stood out to me again for some reason. I don't know how that's going to be significant. I feel like it's around that date. Oftentimes in these general readings, Spirit is a little bit more general with the timing, but for some reason that date keeps sticking out to me, March 17th. But the artist, dream, design, craft, create, I feel like you're going to get back into your creative power in the month of March, which is going to be amazing. You're going to illuminate some new ideas. The swords can very much represent ideas and things like that. So if anything has felt blocked or scattered or unsure, you're going to gain this brand new clarity that's going to really kind of push this forward momentum for you, especially as you clear away those old emotions. Spirit is saying that if you choose to kind of sweep them under the rug again and not fully face them, it's going to delay this process of coming back to your artisticness. So Spirit's really saying, like, let's face it, let's face it. Spirit really wants to see you on the other side of it. I'm sure you want to see yourself on the other side of it. So that's coming through right there. And let's go ahead and get any last cards on this reading. The artist energy too is really sticking out to me in the sense that I feel like your creativity is coming back in a very deep way, where it's like, maybe you feel like getting ready and like putting a lot of effort into yourself. Maybe you feel like decorating your home and cleaning it up really beautifully. Maybe you feel inspired to do some form of art or a creative project or something like this. But it's going to kind of express itself in just like a very fun and inspiring, kind of more magical way. We also have the card of patience showing up. So everything can be accomplished at nature's pace. This is such a freaking important reminder. I love that this is coming up for you, because one thing that I've learned is oftentimes when I feel rushed by something and I'm like, it needs to get done right now and I'm not going to get it done. And how am I going to get it done? I don't have enough time. If you've been feeling like that, one thing that I've reminded myself of is like, what is the energy that I can embody where I completely trust that it is going to get done, and that I'm going to go with the flow of life, and I'm going to trust. I'm like, universe, you are going to guide me to getting this done perfectly on time. I'm going to trust. I'm going to fully come back to faith and trust. And I'm going to anticipate that I'm going to get it done. I'm not going to procrastinate. I'm not going to hold it off, but I'm going to trust. And I'm not going to live in fear. I'm going to live in patience and full trust. And I'm going to take action, especially when I feel inspired and when I feel aligned. But I'm only going to take action from the place of trust and inner peace. Because oftentimes when you're rushing, let's say you have a big project that has a timeline that you need to get it complete by, and you're rushing, it can oftentimes hold us back, because in the rushingness, we're like, that scattered energy, let's say you're writing a book, that scattered energy is like, you know, kind of causing you to overlook, make spelling mistakes, and then you're rushing through things. Your ideas aren't quite flowing because you're not having the patience to fully listen to your ideas. And therefore, then you feel like going back, and then you're re-editing, and then it's like literally taking more time. Versus when you have that patience and you're like, I trust, I just trust. Ooh, you allow the creative artist to birth and come out. And then all of a sudden, geez, maybe you write like 10 chapters in a day, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, what the frick? Usually it takes me like a week to write just one chapter, but then all of a sudden you get 10 done in an entire day because you had this level of patience. You allowed your creativity to flow, and in that space, you got into the flow state and words were just flowing out of you. That's the beauty of patience. And so no matter what it is you're dealing with, having this sense of patience and this trust, like, it's going to work out. I just know it is. Oof. It literally does wonders. I do it all the time in my life, especially when I have big deadlines. Like, my human self might be like, oh God, how am I going to get that done? But then my like higher spiritual self is like, you know what? Just connect to the divine, ask the divine to speak through you and guide you to getting it done. Come to that inner feeling of peace and trust. And literally it just happens. I don't know how it does, but it does. But anyway, we also have the card of music. So there's a melody to be heard in the deepest parts of the woods if only we listen. That actually ties in with this creativity and this patience. So if you have certain timelines that are stressing you out right now, Spirit is really saying that the music, so the flow, the inspiration, the way that the universe is speaking to you, the way that your higher self is speaking to you and giving you these creative insights and ideas, can only be heard when you allow yourself to move to the deepest parts of the woods. And what that means is allow yourself that peace, that tranquility. Don't push yourself, don't rush yourself running through the forest, because then you're not going to hear the musical melody of the trees and the butterflies and the birds all singing in this harmony, inspiring you in this beautiful way. If you're like rushing through the woods, running through it, tripping on sticks, having the rustling of the leaves, you're not going to hear any of that. You're just going to hear noise. Therefore, the inspiration can't speak, it can't come through. So Spirit's saying patience and music, you're going to hear the melody, you're going to hear the inspiration, you're going to hear the flow, you're going to understand what to do through this calm patience. So Spirit is saying to embody that, and that is the energy. That's what's coming through for your month of March. My beautiful group number ones, thank you so much for joining me here for today's video. I'm sending you so much love as always. I also just want to mention, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, I make these really beautiful hand beaded bracelets. And in fact, actually right now, I'm going through a warehouse move right now, moving it up close to where I live. So I'm actually going to be personally making these bracelets right now. So you can pre-order yours and I hand make them for you, shipping them out for you, all these beautiful things. So if you want to get your hands on any of these beautiful bracelets, I make them according to your wrist size as well as with gold fill. So you can wear them in water and they do not tarnish, these beautiful beaded bracelets. I also make them in silver too. We also have beautiful, beautiful hand chains and other jewelry and rings and all that. So all that will be linked down below for you. And until next time, my love, bye. All right, my group number 2s, if you chose this pile, this is gonna be your reading. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. All right, so beginning with your Astro Dice here, let's see your month of March and what you can expect. So we have Mars in Virgo in the 5th house. So Mars is the planet of breakthroughs, destroying old obstacles. It's the planet of taking action, being the warrior, really believing in yourself and like awakening that inner warrior to break through any challenges or obstacles or things that have been standing in your way. Virgo is the zodiac sign of, you know, for one, it's associated with organization and making things a little bit more perfect and neat and all of that. And then the 5th house is about fun, creativity, romance, dating, and your passions and your pleasure. So this month, with Mars being here, the month of March for you, there's something that I feel like you are pursuing, that you are pursuing for the pleasure. So it could be a creative project that you have, or it could even be somebody that you're dating and that you're interested in, but there's like a pursuit here and there's a very heightened energy where it's like, ooh, I wanna break through, like I wanna break the ice. I wanna get to know this person. Or again, if it's a creative thing, it's like, I wanna break through any old obstacles that used to hold me back. I want to do something different. I want to jump into things that I've never jumped in before, because Mars also urges you to kind of like try new things. It is kind of associated with beginnings sometimes because it's of its connection with Aries. So sometimes it can get us to try new things and start new stuff. And especially in the 5th house, it's like, you know, starting something that maybe you've never tried before. Virgo, again, makes us a little bit more detail oriented. It can be connected to communication and even inner healing and stuff like that. So your month of March, it seems like there is something exciting kind of underway. Also, I'm going to reshuffle that because that was just me being clumsy there. But, oh, Gemini also wanted to show up. Okay, whenever the Astro Dice tips over, I always feel like it's spirit wanting to say something. So the fact that I have Gemini showing up too, which is also very connected to Virgo in the sense that both of them are ruled by the planet Mercury. So both of them deal with communication. I feel like you're either planning something right now or communicating to somebody that you have interest in. Let's go ahead and get some more information on your month of March and how it's going to unfold, especially with all that we have coming up here. So there's definitely something that you're planning, or communication is somehow significant in the month of March. Let's see what else we get. We also have the High Priestess showing up, and we also have the World being reversed. When this card's reversed, there's something that we are being drawn to complete and close out. So it's an old chapter, something that we've started a while ago that we are ready to kind of like end this old chapter. It could be us getting closure about something, us ending a cycle, finishing up a project that we started, but maybe we're wrapping up the ends of it, because the World talks about, like, it's the last card in the major arcana. So it talks about a completion and an ending, but when it's reversed, there's still some things that we need to kind of finish or perfect or, you know, finish up before we get to that full culmination point. We also have the High Priestess showing up as well, and she can kind of represent coming outside of your comfort zone, especially when we have Mars in the 5th house. So she can represent opening up emotionally, opening up deeper, letting somebody in that maybe you never got that deep before. She can talk about those fronts that you kind of have up out of protection and, you know, protecting your inner world and your emotions and all of that. She can also represent, let's say it's a project, she can also represent privacy, where certain things are being done more privately and you're being secretive about something, but then the world is like coming up to this completion where we're almost done something, we're about to introduce it to the world or bring it to light or tell somebody or open up to somebody about something, but it's like we're brewing something underneath the surface. And again, this could be on a personal level with your emotions. Maybe you're brewing some feelings of love, or perhaps you're working on a creative project and keeping that under wraps and under more secrecy or something like this. But there's definitely something that you're kind of more holding within and planning more internally. But let's go ahead and see what else we get here. My group twos about your month of March and what else is going to be happening. So what else can my group twos expect for their month of March, and what else is going to be coming up? So we have the energy is gaining momentum. So whatever it is that you're pursuing, whether it's a romantic thing or whether it's like a personal project, you're gaining momentum on this and things are moving forward. So if you're curious about what's going to kind of unfold, I'm seeing some momentum happening, especially with this Mars energy. Things where the ice used to be stopping you, things where you had like blocks or anything like this. Those blocks are getting put down. Those walls are coming down. The High Priestess can also talk about those walls. So Mars is really urging you to kind of step outside of your regular comfort zone, to step outside of the things that you're kind of used to, and to be doing things a little bit differently. We also have surrender to the divine, the full moon, and we also have you're very close to achieving your goal. So perhaps you have like a certain outcome in mind, and the world being reversed too means that you're also very close. When it's reversed though, it can kind of mean that it's not going to be quite complete in the month of March, or we're wrapping it up just by the end of March and something's just wrapping up, something's just getting to its completion stage. But maybe you have like a due date on something, or maybe you have certain plans that you're like, I would love for this to happen by this certain date. And I really feel like you're working towards making those things happen, and you're getting very close to achieving like a pretty big outcome. You might even see it by the end of March. Spirit's sort of bringing emphasis towards the 21st up until the 31st. And I feel like Spirit's saying that that 10-day window there is going to be really full of some potent energy. We also have surrender to the divine. So divine timing, the word divine timing is coming to my mind. You may have your own timeline of things, and you may be trying to rush to have things happen in a certain time frame. Spirit is saying to surrender to the divine, allow divine timing to unfold, because oftentimes, you know, sometimes when we're rushing and we're like trying to get to the finish line, sometimes that angst and that rushing energy can make us overlook things, and we have to redo things. And then that actually makes things take longer than they would have if we just kind of surrendered to the process and we were open to the flow of things. Oftentimes things actually happen quicker when we open up to the flow. Let's go ahead and see what else we have for your month of March and what else is going to be happening. We have take risk. Ooh, I feel like you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, especially, you know, High Priestess showing up with the world being reversed, the energy gaining momentum, the Mars energy that we have. I feel like you're kind of stepping outside of your comfort zone in a way that you haven't before. And this again could be in the realm of dating and your relationships, or it could be in the realm of your creative pursuits and projects and things that you're taking under your wing. But I definitely see you stepping outside of your comfort zone, maybe trying some things that you haven't done before, deciding to put faith into your dreams. Then we also have the card of manifest. So you actually are going to start to see results from stepping outside of your comfort zone, as long as you're willing to actually step outside of your comfort zone, because Spirit's kind of saying that, you know, there's this kind of inner choice that you have to either do things the same way that you've always done them, or to choose to embrace this Mars energy, right? High Priestess can talk about the opposite of Mars, right? She can talk about succumbing to those walls and those, you know, veils that we have on ourselves, to kind of fall back into privacy and sitting down and waiting for things to happen. Mars helps us take action. The fact that we have that dual energy, I feel like Spirit's really saying, if you choose to embrace more of the High Priestess energy, more of the waiting energy, it's kind of gonna prolong things and kind of continue this inner feeling that you have, where there's this duality, there's this inner push that you feel, but at the same time, there's this inner pull that you also feel. It's like this push-pull energy where it's almost like you may desire to pull your energy back because it's like, oh, this is nerve-wracking. But then there's also an inner push that you have at the same time. And so I feel like you're teeter-tottering between that energy a little bit. And this month, the more that you kind of come into balance, but also embrace some of that moving forward energy, I really feel like there's this momentum gaining, and you may even notice some results coming from that, okay? We also have Spirit, which is renew, detox, purify, and cleanse. So I feel like as you step outside of your comfort zone, there's this feeling where you're cleansing old fears, things and inhibitions that once held you back, and kind of coming to this like inner purity, spreading your wings out to try something new. So let's go ahead and see what else we get here. My group twos, what else do we have for my group twos? We also have the Musician coming out, so shine, play, invoke, and express. This could be you expressing yourself more, especially in terms of dating, or even in terms of putting yourself out there, your projects out there, the things that you've been working on. The Musician can also talk about being in the spotlight in some way, and the 5th house can also sometimes touch on spotlight energy as well. So there could be another opportunity also coming in the month of March where perhaps you are called to be in that spotlight, be more of the center of attention in certain circumstances, or even be the presenter of some kind, where there's eyes on you and what you've achieved or what you've accomplished, and the eyes and the attention is going towards you. So this is where you are being called to play and have fun. And if any of that makes you nervous, Spirit's actually saying, have fun with it. Like, just allow yourself to shine and just have fun. Just have fun with it. Allow your inner child to just like enjoy this moment of like, you know what? It's fun to be here. It's fun to do this. And that kind of takes off the performance pressure too. Like sometimes when we're in the spotlight and, you know, maybe all eyes are on the project that we've had, or maybe, you know, we're going out on a really important date and we're like, oh my God. But if you just lean back and have fun with it, Spirit's saying that this could actually end up being something that's enjoyable and fun and all of that. So let's go ahead and see what else we get here. We also have the Night. Find comfort in the night where the world switches off and the stars burn bright. This card, when it shows up, can indicate that some of your best ideas are happening at night, but it could also indicate that your creativity bursts at night. So perhaps, you know, if this is talking about somebody that you're dating, maybe in the night you're gonna notice like, oh, I can't stop thinking about them, let me text them, and then you end up staying up really late at night texting each other. Or if this is like a creative project or something like this, it could be like the night, all of a sudden comes this time where you're staying up a little bit late, getting some new ideas, maybe going through different scenarios in your head, playing things out, and then it kind of keeps you up. So Spirit's also saying to prioritize your sleep a little bit. Okay, prioritize your sleep, but at the same time, I feel like there's gonna be certain circumstances happening this month that are taking away your sleep a little bit. And if so, Spirit is just saying, you know, it's temporary. It's just part of the process, but sleep will happen again. But do prioritize it if you can. We also have Origins. Remember your roots. Remember who you are, where you come from. We also have Resilience. Stay as strong as the evergreen trees. If you stay resilient, especially in terms of like facing things that you fear or overcoming obstacles, if you stay resilient, especially in the face of challenges, you're able to overcome them and get to the other side. So stay strong as the evergreen trees. When you commit to something, stay committed and only say yes to the things that you really want to commit to, the things that mean the most to you, the things that are actually going to push you forward and push the needle forward, even if it requires coming outside of your comfort zone and taking risks a little bit. Stay resilient and say yes to those things that you know do matter to you. If it matters to you, take that risk, push yourself forward, step outside of that comfort zone to achieve the outcome that you desire, my love. So that is what is coming through for your month of March. Thank you so much for joining me here for today's video. I'm sending you all so much love. I also just want to mention my jewelry. I actually hand make these gorgeous beaded bracelets. I make them with gold fill so you can wear them in water and they do not tarnish. And I also make them according to your wrist size so that they fit you perfectly. I'm actually in the midst of a transition right now where I'm moving my warehouse to where I live because it's been like far away. And for the time being, while we do that transition, I'm actually gonna be personally making these bracelets for you guys. So all the information will be linked down below. I also have other jewelry such as rings and necklaces and earrings and all kinds of things, and hand chains, which our hand chains sell out so often, by the way. So if you wanna get your hands on one of those, then all the links will be down below. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye. All right, to my group number 3s, if you chose this pile, this is going to be your reading. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. All right, beginning with your astro dice here, let's see your month of March. So we have the sun in Leo in the 2nd house. So the sun is all about your soul, your radiance, your inner fulfillment, and where your soul's guiding you towards. It's kind of where we feel confident and lit up, and it can sometimes be where we're in the spotlight in some way, shape, or form, especially being in Leo. There could be something that's calling you to be in the spotlight or for you to shine the spotlight onto a certain area of your life. Being in the 2nd house, this is the house of your material world. So this talks about your finances, your material assets. It can sometimes be about career a little bit too, but it's mostly about money and your savings and things like this, and your material belongings. So the sun being here, there could be a focus on something that you desire to attain materially. And there could be some action that you're taking this month to kind of align yourself to making that purchase or to line up your resources so that you can begin, diving into that area. This could also talk about the actual purchase of something that you've been really eyeing. This could be like the purchase of a home or getting a loan, signing a lease or something like this, or a mortgage or whatever. Like it could be some of those bigger purchases. It could also be the opening of a business, for example. The 2nd house just deals with everything financial and material, and the sun helps us bring the spotlight in that area, and it also helps us connect to the things that are connected to our soul in that area. If any of you have been feeling the urge to declutter financially or to even declutter materially in your home or anything like this, this would be allowing the spotlight to go in those areas so that you can have like a sense of renewal, so that you can bring your awareness to what's actually going on. So maybe you're doing some big drawer cleanouts or closet cleanouts or even financial cleanouts or things like this that are going to help you illuminate and bring conscious awareness to that huge aspect of your life. So the month of March is going to put a lot of awareness there. Being in Leo as well, this is going to help you feel a sense of control, and it's you putting your heart into something. And it could also be you getting in the spotlight in some way, shape, or form. So if any of you have a career that requires you to be in the spotlight, or if there's some form of opportunity coming your way that, it might pop up in March, or maybe it's recently popped up in your life, that would require you to put yourself more out there or to be seen a little bit more, especially in regards to career or in regards to you accomplishing something. My love, the month of March is you saying yes to yourself, saying yes to your worth. This could also be you, actually, because we're talking about a lot of the external things, right? But the 2nd house can also talk about your internal self-worth, okay? Especially sun being in Leo. This is so much deeply about like self-worth energy. If any of you have been working on your self-worth lately, this is your month where I feel like you're making new decisions that are in alignment with you feeling worthy and accepting like, hey, I'm worthy of this. I'm worthy of my dreams. I'm worthy of the amount of pay that I want. This could be you pursuing something bigger because you're like, you know what? I deserve more than this. And it's like this feeling of like, I don't want to settle anymore. Therefore, I'm going to start making changes, or I'm going to start pursuing something higher and greater. So I'm seeing that you're going to be taking action in those different ways. Let's go ahead and see what else we get for you here. My group 3s. This could also be worthiness, even in terms of relationships for some of you. So if there's been this tendency to feel unworthy or not good enough, or maybe you've been putting yourself on the back burner or being a people pleaser, this could also talk about that self-worthiness, to put yourself in the spotlight and to be seen, to say, you know what, I'm going to speak about what I want, what I deserve, and what my expectations are, okay? So there's also that coming through. We have inner temple. So this says devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. I feel like you, since the heart's very connected to Leo, you're being called to really step into your confidence more. Maybe you've had like a lack of confidence, in the past, and maybe it's something that's you're really starting to recognize, and you're like, you know what? I don't want to be held back by this anymore. You're tuning into what your heart actually desires and what your heart wants, and I feel like you're realizing like, I don't think my heart would have these callings unless I was worthy of it, unless I was aligned to it, right? Starseed, what lights you up? What lights you up? The sun is literally the bringer of light. Leo is the zodiac sign connected to the sun, which is also the bringer of light. You, in the month of March, are stepping into your light. I also feel like you're following your callings more. You're listening to that inner spark that you have. And this could be an inner spark towards taking action towards something, or focusing on like, what actually makes me feel good? What do I actually want? Second house asks you, what do you want? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to have? What do you want to hold in your hand? What lights you up? I feel like you're taking action towards those things. And again, inner temple is following your heart as well. I feel like you have this inner spark within you that you're going to be pursuing. And also the stone carnelian very much connects you to your passions and your inner drive and your inner fire to pursue things. So there's a lot of fire energy that I'm feeling for you for the month of March. And the fire energy pushes you to take action, especially with overcoming old obstacles or things that used to hold you back and all of that. So let's see what else we get for your month of March. My group threes. What do we have for my group threes for the month of March? We're going to dive into some of your tarot cards to get some more specificity going on. Ooh, I feel like that one wanted to come out. So we have the Five of Swords being reversed, which is an amazing position for this card. If there's been any inner conflict or even external conflict that you've been dealing with, the month of March is going to provide resolution for those things. So if you feel like you've been stabbed in the back before, or even if you feel like you failed at something before, or there's a fear of failure that might have held you back, I feel like the month of March, you're really pushing yourself outside of that. If any of you have had conflict with another person in the recent times, or if there's been like a discord of any kind, when this card's reversed, it talks about the healing of that. So with all this light energy, certain things are coming to light where you're opening up, or another person's opening up and explaining like, oh, this is why this happened. And it's going to be an illuminating month. It's going to illuminate discords and help bring them to an understanding and to an inner peace. This could also talk about internal discords that you've had with yourself. And when it comes to pursuing certain things, or when it comes to things that were unknowingly stabbing you in the back. So with the second house, if this is dealing with finances, for example, maybe there were certain things that were stabbing you in the back that you were like, you know what, that's kind of hurting me there. When this card's reversed, we are taking action to sort that out. The swords usually represent something that's a little bit more mental, so it can talk about communication or, certain plans that we have. Also, I apologize about the lighting. It's kind of like partially cloudy here, so the sun keeps going away and coming back and going away and coming back. But anyway, this talks about more of those things that are in our mind. And so I feel like you're sorting through and getting clear so that nothing's really catching you off guard anymore. I feel like you're not wanting to be caught off guard. That is this card. Because upright, we're being caught off guard. There's something that it was like unexpected, and then we're like, wait a second, how did I let that catch me off guard? When it's reversed, we're not being caught off guard anymore, right? Chariot can talk about a choice and deciding to move forward rather than backwards. It can also talk about clearing things away and deciding what direction you want to go in. Also, look at this lighting. Oh my goodness. The fact that we have this big lighting situation happening right now, I almost wonder too if some of you are on a teeter-totter of, moving really far forward, but then sometimes focusing on the past a little bit, and then like in between stages of some kind, or perhaps you're in a transition phase of some kind. The Chariot talks about that transition phase as well, and I feel like you're going to be making a choice about what direction you want to go in. And the Chariot talks about overcoming obstacles, having breakthroughs, and really being clear on your path and deciding to go for it and pursue it and give it your all. So I feel like there's something that you're really moving forward on. If there's anything that's been stuck, either financially or within your inner callings, the Chariot is like when you get on the Chariot, you're like, I'm going. I'm choosing it and I'm going. It can also sometimes talk about travel. It can also talk about our car in some way, shape, or form. So this could also be planning, for a car upgrade. This could also be planning for fixing certain things that have kept us stuck and all of that. Judgment can talk about the fear of judgment that has been holding us back. It can talk about personal judgments that we've had. So if you've been overly critical of yourself, when this card's upright, It can talk about becoming aware of that critic and implementing it and almost seeing like the positive of where it's actually guiding you. So there's this awareness that Spirit wants to bring to you. So rather than being overly critical to where it's pushing you down, Spirit is saying, use that criticism to uplift you. Okay, there's the wisdom of the Judgment card. You know, when you get critical of like, oh, I should have done this differently and I should have said it like this, rather than being hard on yourself and being like, oh, I wish I could go back and change it. Instead, Spirit saying, instead, change that and just be like, this awareness is helping me grow. I love this. I'm going to implement this next time. I'm going to use this to my advantage now. I'm aware of this. This is so great. Ooh, I love this. Oh, okay, that's uplifting. That is uplifting. So Spirit wants you to go through a reframe, because Spirit's saying that this is going to be something that really helps you through this month to kind of like reframe the critical thinking and come back to, you know, all of that. We have Sacred Destruction coming up. This could also be a month where you are going through, you know what's interesting with the second house that would coming up and then Sacred Destruction. I almost wonder if some of you are going to do a big cleanse of some kind in your material or financial world, where it's almost like you go through your drawers and things like this. And then Sacred Destruction would be the energy where you're like, rather than debating, like, should I keep this or should I not? It's like you're being like, nope, just get rid of it. I don't want to think about it. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Because you're almost going through this time where you're just like, you're creating a renewal, but it's like a drastic renewal, but yet it's sacred. So it's positive, right? So it's kind of like similar to a tower moment where we're just like, you know what? Just F it, just destroy it all. Let's restart from the beginning. But it's for like a higher good. This could also be financially. Like, let's say that we haven't looked at our finances in a while, or let's say that, you know, we've been keeping track of them, but maybe, you know, whatever, it's following a certain pattern. We're just like done with the pattern. Sacred Destruction would be like, let's start from scratch. Let's start from the beginning so that I can make it right, so that I can make it positive, so that I can make it the way that I want to be. So I feel like you might be doing that around your material world or your finances this month. It could also be in terms of your purpose and your career in some way. So it could be like, you know, deciding to completely redo or renew something in some way and going through that kind of Sacred Destruction phase where it's an ending, but it's also a positive ending because it's leading to a new beginning. Let's go ahead and see what else we get here. We also have Get Wild showing up. So this could, I feel like there's this wild energy where there's this radical, Spirit's using the word radical. It's a radical shift where it's almost like you're fed up and you're done with something. You're just like, okay, I'm done with this pattern. I'm done with this thing. It could also be a relationship for some of you, but for most of you, I feel like this is in the realm of personal or career or finance in some way. And it's just like this feeling of like, just get rid of it all. Let's restart, start from scratch. It's like, let's get wild. Let's move forward. Let's get the momentum moving forward, right? And so I feel like this is a very forward moving month for you. Let's go ahead and see what else we get here. My group 3 is all about your month of March. Let's see, my group 3 is your month of March. I feel like this card wants to come through. We have Poet. Ooh, this card can talk about, for one, it could talk about messages coming in. It could talk about writing, planning, something that you're planning, or it can even talk about invitations coming your way. It can also talk about signing something. The feathers in the book here can talk about like signing a contract or a lease or something important like this. So if any of you are thinking about making a big purchase, this can talk about, you know, getting those plans underway. It can also talk about, you know, look at this book. It could also talk about bookkeeping, right? In terms of, ooh, you could also be planning something along with your career or something that you desire to attain material. This could be like the planning of it. If any of you are writing anything important, this could be the writing of that or having communication and planning all of those things. Awaken or fortify, soar, emerge, and strengthen. You are becoming aware of something that was kind of going on in the back burner. I feel like this is going to be such a cleansing month. You're going to come out of this month feeling renewed. Like the sun and this Leo energy that I'm getting here, you are going to come out of this month feeling completely renewed in the sense of like, oh, I feel like I'm just so aware and so conscious now, which gives me peace of mind. Like I'm getting this peace of mind feeling. You know, when you do a big clean out of your closet and it was like looking like it was looking crazy before, and then you make it look even crazier because you're like, you know, taking everything out and making it all sacred destruction, right? We're doing a big cleanse, but then afterwards we put everything back and it's so organized, so neat, and then we're aware of everything that we have. We know exactly where it's placed. We know exactly where it is. And it's like this, oh, it's this peace of mind. You are going to exit the month of March with that sense because of what you're doing. And it could be a big clean out. It could be a financial clean out. It could be getting organized in your career or something like this. But it is going to feel so good when you are on the other side of it. So let's go ahead and see what else we get here. My group threes. Let's see what else we have. We have flow. Go with the flow as water trickles down a stream. Do not hurry. So Spirit's also saying there's not a rush. There's not a rush to get it done. So if you are doing a big clean out, let's say, or you're doing some financial planning, or you're doing something in your career, go with the flow. Do not hurry. It does not have to get done in one single day. This could be something that, you know, takes the entire month. Go with the flow. Go with the flow of your energy too. Spirit's really saying to listen to your energy and to go with the flow of your energy. When your energy is like, I need a pause, I need a break, I need to recalibrate, listen to it. Things always flow better when you go with the flow and you don't push and rush and race. Things always flow better. Or even procrastination. We don't want to procrastinate either, right? Go with the flow. When you feel like, yep, I'm feeling the calling, listen to it. Step up and answer the call, right? Judgment talks about stepping up and answering the call, but then also going with the flow and not racing to the finish line either. Go with the flow of how the universe unfolds it. Trust yourself, trust your body's guidance. Your intuition knows how to guide you, right? So listen to your body. We also have trust. A robin trusts her wings, not the branch she sits on. This calls you to focus back on the fact that you hold the power to create anything. So rather than trusting, you know, your job or a person or the home that you live in, all of those things could end at any period in time, right? They could. I'm not saying that they will. I'm not saying that they will in any way, shape, or form. What this card talks about, though, is to put the power back into yourself, to realize that you, the fact that you have you, trust yourself and know that since you're in control of you, you can make anything happen. Also, sorry, this lighting is... You can make anything happen. The robin trusts her wings, not the branch she sits on. So she doesn't trust all the things around her. She doesn't trust the external. She trusts herself because she knows I can fly to a new branch at any moment in time. And so your awareness is coming back to your own inner power, and Spirit wants you to awaken back to your inner power this month, okay? So the sun is going to be a very illuminating month. Again, there could be something where you're going to be in the spotlight in some way, shape, or form, where either you're sharing something or there's an opportunity for you to be in the spotlight, or again, it's just you shedding awareness and spotlighting the things in your life so that you can kind of become more aware of them and transform them and do all of those things. This is a month where you might get a little bit wild. You might have some little breakthroughs here, but they're going to be amazing because they're going to get you to the other side of having this peace of mind and this nice awareness where you're like, oh, I'm just aware of all the things. Now I know, now I'm clear. It adds clarity, right? Whenever we leave things in the dark or in the shadows, you know, we don't have awareness over them. Therefore, they can end up having control over our lives unconsciously. But when we bring conscious awareness to them, then we're in control of it, right? Because we are aware of it. So that is what is coming through here. I'm sending you all so much love. Thank you so much for joining me here for today's video. I also want to mention that if any of you are interested in any crystal jewelry, I hand make these beautiful beaded bracelets. They're made with gold fill, and I make them according to your wrist size. So you can wear them in water and they do not tarnish because of the materials that I make them with. I also make them in silver as well. And in fact, normally I actually don't make these bracelets myself anymore. I actually have a whole team, but I'm in the midst of transitioning my warehouse to where I live, especially because I moved like 3 years ago. And as a mom, I can't be going down to where I used to live and where I used to have my warehouse. So while I'm doing this like big transition right now, I'm going to be personally making these bracelets for the next little while. I'm not sure how long exactly, but if you guys want to order, especially within this next little bit, I'll be personally making your bracelets for you, which is going to be so fun and exciting. And yeah, I'm sending you all so much love. Thank you so much for joining me here for today's video. And until next time, bye. All right, my beautiful group number 4s, if you chose this pile, this is going to be your March prediction. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. All right, my group fours, let's go ahead and roll your astro dice and let's see what comes up for you guys. So we have the sun in Gemini in the 6th house. Ooh, so the sun is all about the illumination, your soul's purpose, where you shine, where you feel confident. It's all about your inner world and your inner fulfillment and all those beautiful things. Gemini is the zodiac sign of communication and the mind and other people and all of that and planning. The 6th house is the house of being of service to others. So it's connected to your career. It's also connected to your environment, and it's connected to your personal health and well-being. So, oh my goodness, my love. For any of you who are going through anything health-wise, this is going to be a month where I really feel like you are wanting to feel your best, and you're going to be implementing new things that help with your wellness. I feel like you're really focused on wellness. You're wanting to be more well, more healthy. Perhaps you're focusing on things like that, like being more organic, being more whatever it is that's kind of correlating to you right now. I feel like your health is going to be something that is highlighted, but with the sun and Gemini coming up, you're gaining information and also implementing plans and implementing that information to really create the outcome that you desire. In terms of career, this can be where you are in the spotlight in some way or gaining recognition of some kind with the sun being in the 6th house. There could be like an epiphany or a time where you get to shine or you get to step into your confidence or your radiance a little bit or something that you're really proud of. It could be like a plan that you're really excited about or a project that you've planned and have been putting together this entire time. Something like this, but it's going to be highlighted. It's going to be kind of like an exciting thing happening in the month of March. Or again, it could just be talking about health in some way, shape, or form, or your wellness. And also, since it deals with your environment, with the sun in Gemini, there could be something where your environment is now being more illuminated or highlighted, or something where your soul is just feeling more fulfilled. This could be more fulfillment in your work, in your job, in your day-to-day, in your schedule, feeling like your schedule is matching more of your soul. Maybe there's been some adjustments lately, and you're just feeling a little bit more alive than usual. Whatever changes or things that you've been adjusting and doing, the month of March is going to have you feeling more alive than your average month. We also have Two of Swords coming through. Two of Swords can talk about a decision or an inner feeling of like, what do I decide? You might have a choice that you've been debating internally where you're like, okay, do I act on this new idea or do I stay the same? And it can kind of be when your head and your heart are at conflict with something. So it's like maybe logically you know you should be doing something, but then your heart's guiding you in another way. And so it's kind of like on that bridge of making a big choice and mentally kind of sorting through different things, kind of finding information, which I actually feel like your advice from Spirit is to really listen to your intuition, because your intuition's going to break the fog and the clouds that have been in the way. The Magician being reversed is when there's something that you desire to manifest, but perhaps there's been a disalignment or an unalignment with that. Perhaps our thoughts have been going in the wrong direction. I really feel like this month, your thoughts are going to be moving in a different direction. I feel like you're going to become aware of the way that you've been thinking, and you're going to, because this is very correlated to the Gemini energy, but since we have the sun in the 6th house, you're aligning to healthier ways of being, healthier ways of thinking, healthier ways of living. If you've been doubting yourself and your ability to achieve the outcome that you want, if you've been doubting yourself, or, you know, your thoughts haven't been in alignment with what you desire, I feel like this is a month of really sorting through that and getting back into healthy alignment, right? So let's go ahead and see what else we get here. My group fours. Ooh. There's a big epiphany that just came through. The Magician being reversed. If there is something that has manifested in your life that you're like, how did I manifest this? This was not the outcome that I wanted. Because when the Magician is upright, the Magician talks about your ability to create your reality and the fact that you are the creator of your reality. And the Magician talks about manifesting your desires into physical form. When it's reversed, it can occasionally talk about things that we've manifested that were like, that wasn't what I wanted to create. That like backfired, or that didn't go the way I wanted it to, or, You know, maybe you ended up manifesting something that you're like, that's not what I wanted. Like, how did this happen? How did I create this? How did I get here? And this makes so much sense how we have the sun in Gemini in the 6th house coming up, because you are going to be illuminating, right, the sun, more of what you desire and how to get in alignment with what you desire, especially regarding your schedule, your work, and your wellness and your time. The way in which you serve the world, the way in which you show up. So I really think there's this recalibration in the month of March. It's a recalibration, the figuring out of what kind of went wrong and how to kind of get back into alignment so that your soul can feel back in alignment. So you can feel in alignment with who you know that you're meant to be, right? We also have the card of shadow work coming out. Oh my gosh. Whoa. So this card, by the way, I have had this deck for years, okay? This is the first time the shadow work card is coming out. I have like this deck in a different color, and I've definitely had the shadow work card come out before in that deck, but this is like a kind of different edition, and never in this deck has this card come out. So right now I'm excited, but I'm also excited because this is building together such a story about your month of March. So shadow work, if you don't know what it is looking at your unconscious habits and patterns, beliefs, and things like this. Because there's this quote by Carl Jung. Listen up. This is like literally this is life-changing right here. And maybe you've heard this before, but this is time for you to hear it again. Carl Jung has this quote that goes, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate." Ugh, I'm going to say that one more time because this is so important. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you'll call it fate. So I feel like there's something that has manifested, something like an outcome that has happened that you're like, what? How? This is not what I wanted. This month is calling you to look at your unconscious self. Oh, look at this, Two of Swords, the conflict from the heart and the mind, and finding out what went wrong and what was calibrated this way to cause this to happen. Okay. The shadow work is looking at your shadow, looking at your unconscious self, your unconscious beliefs, your unconscious habits, your unconscious patterns, and what that means, what that looks like, essentially. Like, let's say this deals with career. Really easy example, especially regarding 6th house. Let's say this deals with career, but let's say you're like, I don't feel worthy of the dream job that I actually want. Okay, well, if we don't feel worthy of it, even if an idea comes to us that we could take action on, where we could, go to the school and get the education that we need, or apply for the job that we actually truly want, but we don't feel worthy of it, of course, we're going to self-sabotage. It's going to cause us to unconsciously self-sabotage it because we don't feel worthy of it. Therefore, it makes us uncomfortable to take action towards it. And then we wonder, why doesn't it ever manifest? Why do I end up in the careers that I hate, that I don't want? Well, it actually is stemming from this unconscious belief that has been causing your internal survival egoic human mechanisms to go, oh, I got to keep myself protected. I don't feel worthy of that. Therefore, I need to self-sabotage this idea and I need to not go towards it. Therefore, I'm just going to accept something I don't want, right? Ooh, that's how our reality manifests. That is the secret, too, of the magician. Because if you look at the regular depiction of the magician, okay, it shows a magician holding one hand up to the sky where there's like roses in the sky, and then pointing one hand down to the earth where roses and a garden is blooming. And what that represents is the mind, because roses don't grow up in the sky, okay? Last time I checked, roses never grew up in the sky. So why on the magician card normally is there a depiction of roses in the sky that he's pointing up to? He talks about how your mind, what goes on in your mind, what goes on in the ethereal, energetic, unseen world manifests in your material world, okay? So a lot of the things that we think and believe in, all these things, are unconscious. And so your month of March is illuminating the unconscious thoughts, beliefs, habits, patterns that are leading you where you've gotten. And as you illuminate them, you gain conscious control and therefore the ability to shift it and change it. One of the best ways, I'm going to make a video on this in the future. I'm getting goosebumps. This is a video idea that I thought of very recently because this is something that I do in my life, but you're going to get a little sneak preview of it right here, right now. So one of the best ways to change belief systems that are unconsciously holding you back, because it's like, well, how do I change this feeling of unworthiness or this feeling of fearing rejection or whatever is unconsciously brewing beneath the surface that is causing these unwanted actions and habits and self-sabotage. Whatever's brewing beneath the surface, the best way to change a belief system is to change, for one, your environment, sixth house, your environment, your actions, because becoming conscious of the way you act, the way you dress yourself, the way you hold yourself. If you asked yourself, okay, if I believed I was worthy, let's say if you're trying to change a worthiness belief, if I believed I was worthy of all my dreams and desires, how would I dress in the morning? How would I wake up in the morning? How would I take care of my house? Like, let's say that you drive a car that always makes you feel like maybe it's a car that you're just like, oh, this car's like broken, it's beat up, it's blah, 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 whatever. And let's say every time you drive that car to work, you're just feeling like, oh gosh, I'm just an unworthy person, I'm this. And it's just, reconnecting you back to where you are, and it's re-perpetuating all these thoughts, these beliefs. What you can do instead is say, if I was somebody who already had all of my dreams and desires and was super successful and believed that I was successful and believed I was worthy of it, how would that version of me drive my current car? Would I go and wash it up and take care of it and maybe get some paint filler and just make the scuffs a little bit less noticeable? And would I put some beautiful decorations on the inside or something, or make it all nice and beautiful and shiny? And then all of a sudden, that's how my version of me who believes I'm so worthy would actually treat this situation and treat this car. So the way that you treat your external environment, the way that you interact with your external environment, the way that you take action in your external environment reinforces the way that you view yourself and your reality and who you are. It reinforces all of that, right? So instead, when you change your external environment to reflect the beliefs that you want to have and that you want to adopt, that speaks to your subconscious mind in such a powerful way. So I'm giving you a little shadow work lesson right now. So what I want you to do, my love, I want you to look at all the aspects of your life that reinforce the belief system that's been keeping you stuck the most. So maybe it's this feeling of I don't feel like I'm worthy of my dreams and desires. I don't feel like I'm blah, blah, blah. If any of you don't even know where to start with this, I actually have a free shadow work PDF. It's linked down below in the freebies area. So if you look below the timestamps, there's an area that says all of my freebies. I have a shadow work PDF that walks you through an entire process of uncovering your unconscious belief systems and things like this. And whatever your biggest, most common one is, I want you to ask yourself, how would I interact differently in my day-to-day life if I believed the opposite? If I believed that I was, so worthy, or I didn't have a fear of rejection, or I didn't have a fear of this, or blah, 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 blah. I want you to think about how you would treat your environment, how you'd treat everything around you. Let's say that you want to move to a new house and you're like, oh, I hate coming home to my current house. Well, that belief system is literally actually keeping you stuck in your current house, believe it or not. So instead, when you come to your home and you're like, I'm going to treat this like my dream home, that literally changes your subconscious mind, changes your belief systems. It changes how you feel you're worthy, and therefore changes the way you're going to take action. It opens up new opportunities for you, and all of a sudden those right opportunities flow through, right? Whether you want a job change, you want to manifest your dream relationship, whatever it might be. When I was manifesting my husband, my dream relationship, and I was kind of stuck in that feeling of feeling really lonely, what I would do is I would take myself on these romantic beach walks where I'd brew my favorite cup of tea, and I would go out at sunset to the beach where all the lanterns in Laguna Beach would be lit up, and it's so beautiful. And I would imagine that I am living my most romantic life and that I'm having these romantic conversations with my dream partner. And literally 2 weeks later, I met my man. I met him, I only did it for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden I met him. And then me and him are then taking these beach walks, having these conversations that I was literally visualizing in my mind just prior. And so putting yourself in the situation of, how would I think, feel, and act if I already had what I wanted? Treat your environment that way, treat your actions that way, treat yourself that way, and it will shift your belief systems. It's so powerful. Anyway, I'm going off on this. Let's dive into more of your reading. That was a manifestation lesson right there, because what's been coming up is okay, if you've been manifesting not what you want, here's your secret to manifesting what you do want, especially with that magician being reversed. Here is the secrets. Start treating yourself like the solution has already come. Start living your life as if your dreams have already been answered and fulfilled. Live your life that way. And that doesn't mean oh, I'm not trying to manifest $1 million and therefore I'm going to start spending frivolously. It doesn't mean that. but live as if it's guaranteed. Live as if you know that that is your outcome, and start living energetically from that space, making conscious choices of like, okay, well, even when I have $1 million, I'm still going to be, smart with my money, and I'm still going to, not overspend. And so don't overspend in your current moment. Live by the same rules, live by the same energy, right? So even when you are super duper successful, live in the same rules in your current environment. Okay? But live from the energy of that abundance. Live from the energy of that thing, I get so many questions of people being like, well, how do I live as the version of me who has $1 million when I don't? Do I just start spending all my money like that? No, that's ridiculous. Because like, if you have $1 million, would you spend your money like a billionaire if you have $1 million? No, that would be ridiculous. That would be like the stupidest thing you could do, right? So no, live by the same rules that you would have, live by the same standards that you would have, but in your present moment, in your present shoes, and live from the energy of the end, live from the energy of abundance. Look at your current finances as super abundant, right? Imagine a version of you who had 10 times less than you, okay? How would they feel if they had what you had now? They would feel insanely abundant. So feel that. Feel the energy of that abundance and watch that abundance start to pour to you, because that's going to help you reprogram your mind and put you in those shoes. Anyway, moving on, your other cards. We're just going into a manifestation lesson here. We should just make this whole thing a video that goes out. Anyway, way shower. Okay, usher, decide, discern, defend. Be the way shower. So I feel like this is coming up because I feel like some of you may have certain belief systems and certain information, things like this, where other people around you may not understand you. They may not understand the same things that you believe in and all of this. Be the way shower. Don't try to convince everybody else of what you know, because that gets you nowhere, right? If people are not in alignment to it, if that's not their path, they're on their own unique path. Just speak via example. Be the example of it. So be the way shower. You don't need to convince everybody else. Oftentimes, what happens when we learn these spiritual concepts and things, we almost try to convince everybody else of it in order to like deeply and deeper convince ourselves of it and get everybody on our same page. The best way is results speak for themselves. Get on your path, realign yourself, get on all of that, and just be the way shower. You might also have somebody in your life or somebody that you look up to, a book that you read, an author that you love. Maybe it's this channel. Ooh, I would be so honored. But anyway, perhaps you have somebody that you look up to. Allow that idol to be that way shower. And also, this card's talking about, who do you get advice from? Okay, who are you listening to? So when you have dreams, goals, and desires in your life, a big thing that's coming up, and I know that this is a lot of spiritual advice. We're going to get back to your March reading, but I feel like Spirit just has so much to say to you right now. Spirit's like, this is the time we want to get it all out. So now that we have your attention, let's get into it. Who are you taking your advice from, my love? Are you asking people around you who are not living your dream life, and you're asking them for advice of how to get to your dream life, and you're listening to their thoughts and opinions? Or are you choosing to listen to the thoughts and opinions and advice of the people who actually have accomplished what you desire? And how do you think those two ideas, like if you're listening to the thoughts and advice of people who are stuck in their love life or financially or in their career and stuck in something that they don't like, but yet you're listening to their advice? Like, for example, maybe we want to manifest our soulmate, but we keep asking our friends who are single and, whatever, and we're like, what's your advice on what I should do? Are we going to get the best advice to manifest our soulmate from the person who's never done that before? So, like, love to everybody on this earth, literally love to everybody. But the way shower, who is your way shower? Is your way shower somebody who's already accomplished? Because if you listen to their advice, it's actually going to get you there because they actually have relevant advice to get you there. Okay, so this is talking about, who are you looking up to? Who are you listening to? Let's see what else we get here, my love. For your month of March, I feel like you are doing a shift in your schedule, your routine, your health. We have sanctuary coming up. So this is really protecting. This card's about protecting your habits and things that you desire to do. It's like protecting your energy, having a sanctuary of like, I'm protecting my rituals, my practices, my beliefs. And it's creating sacred space for your inner work and for the work that you're desiring to do. And this is also a card about making time for you to relax, to rejuvenate, to realign, to return to yourself. You know, if you live with people who really doubt you and fill you with these negative beliefs, Spirit wants to talk about that. The month of March is realizing that, okay, sure, all of us maybe are surrounded by people who don't believe in us or not on the same page, don't understand us. What we can do though is create a safe space, a sanctuary that we go to, or a safe, you know, section of our day. Maybe it's like the morning time or the evening or whatever time during the day that we have, where we can be on our own and create our own sanctuary and our own time to maybe do a meditation, to shift your mind, to shift your thoughts, to realign yourself. Creating sacred space and sacred time for that, because sure, throughout our day, we might be surrounded by people who are not aligned and who give us, you know, negative opinions and things like this. Protect your visions by maybe not sharing with those people who you know you're going to get bad advice from, and making time for yourself and a sacred space for yourself to connect deeper to your practices. And Spirit's saying that this is going to be like one of the best things for you to get you in alignment, to no longer have this heart-brain conflict, to finally make these choices, to realign yourself to those visions, to get all that information that you need and to start implementing it into your life. So let's go ahead and dive into some more cards. I feel like diving into this deck here. Let's see. My group fours. We also have the card of play. It's time to be playful, my love. I feel like Spirit really wants you to come back to a playful energy in your life, because when you're in a playful energy, that's a high frequency energy. Thoughts and ideas and the joy of life comes back. So Spirit's also saying the month of March is a month where you are being called to become playful. Rather than being so serious, rather than looking at all the mistakes that you need to fix and all these things, have fun with it. Like, even if you look at the things that you need to fix in your life or the things that have gone wrong, what if you changed and flipped the script and you're like, let me just have fun with this. Let me have fun with the way that things have turned out. Not in the sense that you're like making fun of it or like any of those things. Not like that. But in the sense, like, let's say that you're in a job that you don't like, okay? What if you went to work and you did it from like this fun space of like, I get to go to this job and I get to have fun. Like, how can I make it fun? If I have to do the dishes tonight, how can I make it fun? If I am single right now, how can I make it fun and actually love this section while also enjoying the fun of finding my soulmate? Ooh, that just flips the script of everything, right? That just flips the script of everything. So this month is a month of returning to fun, becoming playful with every segment of your day. And let's get any last information. Spirit, I feel like, just had a lot of advice today. And you know what I'm feeling? Is because Spirit is saying that this month for you, it can kind of go two different ways. Spirit can feel what your soul is wanting, right? So Spirit wanted to come with a lot of advice to align you to that, okay? Because this is what I'm really feeling right now. This month has the potential to turn out like every average month has, if you continue in the same patterns, okay? So Spirit wanted to come through today with a lot of advice, because Spirit can feel so deeply what you are wanting. That is why a lot of this video was more advice-based, because Spirit's like, there's not much we needed to tell you otherwise. There's not much that is like, you know, super surprising otherwise. Like, this is, Spirit wants you to get into alignment. Spirit has been hearing what you've been asking for. And Spirit wants to show up and communicate that. Maybe that's also why we got Gemini showing up here. Spirit's like, listen. Listen. Because the things that you've been asking for, right? Didn't we even have a card that said like listen or something on it? I don't know. But anyway, that's what we have coming up. So we have grounded. Keep your roots and stand taller than the trees. Keep your roots and stand taller than the trees. The thing is, Spirit is saying to stand taller than your problems or your obstacles that you might see right now. Keep your roots. Don't just blow over and don't succumb to the problems that you might be facing. Keep your roots and decide to stand taller than the trees. Decide that your energy is bigger than these problems. Decide that your vision is bigger than these challenges and that you're going to go and achieve that vision. Stay grounded. Put your roots so strong and be like, you know what? I'm grounding into this moment and I'm going to stand taller than these freaking obstacles and I'm going to overcome them. Okay? keep your roots, and stand taller than the trees. Then we also have retreat. Spoil yourself in the morning mist, breathe in nature's sweet scents. So the sanctuary and retreat coming up. Create a sacred time and space for you to get in alignment. So this could be morning time, especially because we have the morning mist. Spirit's like, the morning time feels like a good time for you, okay? If that doesn't work for your schedule, make it a little bit different. But I feel like most of you guys watching this, Spirit is saying morning is like a good time where Spirit feels like you have a good segment and a possible chunk that you could dedicate to this. Do a manifesting meditation. I literally have free ones here on YouTube. I also, by the way, oh my God, I feel like this would be amazing for you. I actually just came out with a subconscious reprogramming meditation. I feel like this is so in alignment. It's going to be linked down below. It is completely brand new, and it's like has literal science-based research on subconscious reprogramming. The music in the background has binaural beats that sync up to theta frequency, which your brain waves, because of the binaural beats, will actually create something known as brainwave entrainment, where your brainwaves sync up to that frequency and puts you in theta state, which is literally the state of reprogramming your subconscious mind. So through this meditation, I walk you through a process of visualization and doing all these things that are like literally science-backed for reprogramming your mind. It is so incredible. Do that meditation. It's like 25 minutes-ish long, something. I don't know. It's listed on the description of the meditation, how long it is. Do it in the morning, every morning. That's the meditation that's going to get you in alignment. It is going to reprogram your mind on the deepest level. If you cannot afford it, I literally have free ones here on YouTube. They're not as like insane in terms of like the audio and the brainwave entrainment and the binaural beats and all these other things, but they're still very powerful and very amazing. But if you want to take it up a notch and get to the next level and really do some deep freaking work, again, that meditation is linked down below. Spoil yourself in the morning mist, breathe in nature's sweet scents, retreat, create that sanctuary space for yourself to realign, to align with your desires. This is going to help put your unconscious self in alignment with what you want, and that's where manifestation becomes effortless, my love. Anyway, that is it for today's meditation. Ooh, today's reading. I'm sending you all so much love. Thank you so much for joining me here for today's video. I also just want to mention, for any of you that are interested in crystal jewelry, my crystal jewelry website will be linked down below with all of that. But I really feel like for you guys, I feel like the meditation is up your alley. I feel like that is the thing. So I'm not even going to go too much on the jewelry unless you guys, again, are interested. That's going to be linked down below. But check out that meditation because I really feel like for you, it would be the most beneficial thing. But with that being said, thank you again so much for joining me here. Sending you all so much love. And until next time, bye.